Let's get started because it is 1:30, and I want to welcome you to this Life Advisor Wellbeing webinar. No, Jim? No problem. We have with us these two experts, Kristen Hasselbring and Shantae Martin. Tell me about your background briefly. You guys have some specialized training in this area, no?
Yeah, I have my bachelor's degree in exercise science. I've been working in the space of corporate wellness and well-being for a very long time. And when I was just starting out, working in, actually, I worked at a Ford plant in Rawsonville, which is in Ypsilanti. I was poor and it really did not make a whole lot of money. I needed to figure out a way to supplement my income. So I started teaching fitness classes way back when, and I'm still doing that today. So I certainly have a passion for wellness, well-being, and exercise.
About you, Kristen, among other things, is that you do provide like wellness tips, but you do it in the most friendly, non-nagging, guilt-inducing way, and I always appreciate that. What about you, Shantae? You've shared with me before your experience, but could you let the audience know?
Yeah, I'm a certified personal trainer with a fitness with nutrition certification. I mostly work in the fitness space as far as providing group coaching services, and then I do also the online programming and individual coaching. So with that, I got into the field because of my own experiences and things like that, as far as weight loss and esteem, self-esteem, the benefits of it. I was so excited about that I decided to become certified. So that's where that came about later in my career. And again, just looking to connect people with more helpful behaviors.
Love that.
And I am your host, Matt Pambit, and have zero experience. I take that back. I saw a dumbbell for sale once, and that's about the extent of my experience. But let me know, audience, can you relate to this? I mean, you make your fitness goal, you get all excited at the beginning of the year, and you're going to go to the gym, maybe even paid for a gym membership, but then life happens, right? Maybe you don't have the energy that day, or you don't have a sitter for the kids, or wintertime, maybe the roads get bad, and then suddenly that trip to the gym starts to seem like this mountain. What do? We have some ideas for you. We're suggesting, as you might have guessed by the title, that you can work out at home and you don't necessarily need a whole lot of equipment. And it all starts with setting some goals. So, Kristen.
Yes.
Where do we kick us off here?
Sure. So, when I'm thinking about setting a goal for myself, whether it's, something I want to start today, or as Matt referred to, New Year's resolutions, I like to start with my why. Why am I setting this goal? What is it that I'm hoping it's going to do for me? Once I figure out my why, then I figure out my how. How am I going to, reach this goal? And I'm sure, over the years you've heard of SMART goals. Well, the SMART is really an acronym for making something specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So someone going into the new year just saying, I want to walk more, I want to lose weight. That is not specific enough. You have to make your goal, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next, 16 weeks. I'm going to do A, B, and C, to get there. And then whenever you feel like you're not focused or you're losing motivation, that's when you go back to that why. Why are you doing it? What is it? What is it going to do for me? And that why is hopefully what's going to keep you going and push you through when kind of that life gets in the way.
It reminds me of, I think I heard once that without the SMART, approach, it's a wish. And, you can have a pocket full of wishes. You're not going to lose any weight or gain any muscle.
Exactly. Without a plan, it's just a dream.
Now,
Same
can you
thing.
tell us, maybe share with us a personal experience where you set a goal?
Yeah, so I am going to be totally honest with you guys. I'm 50 years old. I'm going to be 51 here in next month. And I'm also, this is TMI, I'm also postmenopause. And I've really been feeling bad about myself. I am just not comfortable in my clothes that I used to feel comfortable in. So I'm like, I have to do something, because just sitting here being miserable is not going to get me anywhere. So I made a determination that I do have time in the morning to go. The place where I teach fitness classes, they have an early morning cycle. It's 7 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so I made the decision that I'm going to that class. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am up very quietly, because I don't want to wake up my husband, but I am up getting ready and out the door at 6:45. It's right around the corner, and I'm in that class. It's only like 30 to 40 minutes. And then I'm, back home and ready to work at 8 a.m. And so, yeah, this week with the time change, I'm not going to lie, it's been rough getting up. But I'm doing it. And so that's something that I've committed to. I register for the class, so I know I'm signed up. And so that's something that I've really been focusing on. And yes, it has made me feel better. Not perfect, but I am, I am seeing those benefits of making those changes. So that's just something that I've been doing recently for myself. And it's a commitment that I'm dedicated to. So
Even after losing an hour of sleep. Now,
I know that's been
talk
rough.
to us, yeah, really. Talk to us, please, about troubleshooting some of these goals, because yeah, it's easy to just whip off goals left and right. What do you do when you lose the hour of sleep, when life gets
a
in the way?
lot of people will really start talking about, oh, you got to be motivated, and motivation is what comes and goes. You think I'm motivated every day to eat my salad or drink the water or go to, that spin class at 7 a.m.? I'm not motivated every day to do that, but that's where consistency comes in. And it's really about being consistent. It's also about knowing, like, if I need to prioritize my sleep, because that's just what I need to do, then that's okay. It's about making shifts as you need to. So don't ever abandon the goal, but just make shifts on the plan. Prioritizing sleep, prioritizing family time, those things are important for us. So it's okay to do those things. Just kind of look at your schedule for the week and figure, okay, where can I fit this in? I want to go out to dinner with my girlfriends. I want to go to my son's baseball game. And so just figuring out where it is that you can put in your me time, your exercise time, whatever it is. So it's not about motivation, you guys. That is a myth. It's about consistency.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I would add to that, Kristen, as well, is to just be mindful, right? Be mindful of your lifestyle and how an active lifestyle might fit into that. Don't assign yourself to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning if that's just not practical for your lifestyle. So I would say that that's a big piece of it. It might not necessarily be that you're not motivated, so to speak, but you're facing competing priorities, so really take a look at and be realistic about your time commitment and the time that you are able to, the space that you are able to dedicate to this.
Yeah, and make sure that you're making yourself a priority.
Making yourself a priority. I like that. These are wise words. And I would suggest, whether it's a fitness goal, a business goal, any kind of goal, financial, that you do revisit that goal every once in a while. You can't just set it and walk away from it and assume that it will always work for you. You need to revisit it.
Yeah, check
Now,
out.
a moment ago we were talking about motivation. And Shantae, you had some thoughts that you were going to share with our audience on finding your motivation. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so when it comes to motivation and kind of sticking to it, certain things become really important, right? So I like to tell people, think about why you're doing what you're doing. We talk about habit stacking, for example. Motivation is not something that you're going to always feel, right? But if you've already cultivated a routine or habit, then it's just easier to stick to. It becomes second nature. There's a lot of things that we do in our day-to-day that we don't consciously think about. It's just a part of the routine, right? And that's where habit stacking could come in. The idea here is that new habits, you want to make new habits easy and convenient. We want to pair them with actions, existing behaviors, routines that we already have, so they're easy to access. And they don't require you to go too far out of your way. So for example, if you know that you take your kids to evening activities, maybe practice or playtime, then you can reliably build or plan your workout around this, right? To occur during the same time, where we might otherwise be sitting in the car or on our phone. Have your sneakers or workout mat, some bands or what have you, and be ready to go. Yeah. When we talk about community, right, that's another way to stay motivated. Community helps new behaviors to last longer. That's just what it is, right? We're more likely to be inclined and brought into activities that we share with other people. So be intentional about building your community of support. And bonus, if this person already leads their own lifestyle, right? So this helps to hold you accountable, helps that the flow a little bit easier. What's most important, though, is to identify people who are willing and have the capacity to hold you accountable. I think when it comes to motivation, what happens is it's important to stay focused, right? We do want to stay focused. And one of the ways that I think we can do this is you want to know your objectives, right? The objectives of your goal, the specific measurable actions that will get you there. And you want to keep things simple. Don't have, more than 1 to 2, maybe 3 priorities at a time. Keep it simple, right? And just know the minimum amount that you can do, the minimum amount of things or quantity or frequency that you can do and still be on pace toward reaching your goal. I like to call these non-negotiables.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Now, let's drag out the soapbox, because I know that Kristen also had some ideas that she feels passionately about strength training, because too many times when people think about fitness goals, what are they talking about? Getting on the treadmill, right? Or losing
cardio.
weight.
Right.
But it's more than that.
Absolutely. This is where we really see change happen. And especially for the women who might be listening to us, this is typically, for most of you, you're shying away from this piece. Maybe you're walking a lot on the treadmill, or you're outside, or you're running, or you're doing your Zumba class or whatever it is, but you're not even thinking about picking up a dumbbell or a weight or that equipment in the gym. Maybe it's intimidating. There's a lot of men in there. But this is really, really important for us, and men too, if you're not doing this, is to start a strength training routine. There's a myth, right, that cardio is the best for weight loss. And there's a difference, you guys, between weight loss and fat loss. They're not the same. So sometimes you might not really need to lose weight, but you need to lose fat. And that's body composition. And body composition is only changed when you add muscle. And you add muscle by lifting heavy and doing strength training. So if I'm on the treadmill for an hour, let's say I'll burn 800 calories. If I'm doing an hour of strength training, let's say I burn 600 calories. However, the more muscle I have, the more I'm burning calories at rest. So if I'm just doing the cardio, I'll burn more at that time. But as soon as I turn that treadmill off, my calorie burn is done. But the more muscle I have, my calorie will burn during, and it will continue at my rest period. So it's really important for us to lift weights, and don't be afraid to lift heavy. You really want to challenge your muscles and challenge yourself. So lift weights that are heavier than your purse. Okay. Don't be afraid to lift heavy.
And can I add to that? I want to say that sometimes, just to give us a little visual, we go in there and we grab the 5 or 10-pound dumbbells. When more often than not, especially as women, we're carrying that. We're carrying those bags. We're carrying more than that in those bags of groceries, or the kid that you have on your hip who weighs about 30 pounds. So I agree with that. Do not shy away from those weights. You are definitely stronger than you might think.
Exactly. And this slide talks about, the value of muscle. Starting in our 30s, we lose 8% of muscle mass per decade, and up to 30% of our strength and power. And that leaves us weak. It leaves us less mobile. It leaves us vulnerable to injuries, especially as we cross over the age of 50. And I already told you that's where I'm at. So, people are falling, they're getting injured, and we really want to prevent that. And you do that by having, strength, flexibility, and balance. So you really want to think about how I'm going to incorporate those elements into my workout routine. It's very important that we're, doing strength training.
Don't forget, audience, if you have questions, we want to hear from you. And we'll also have time right immediately after this webinar in our Life Advisor Lounge, where we can chat more about these issues. Kristen, what do you say to that person who just wants to work out so they have their beach body come summertime? What do you say to that? That doesn't sound like they're trying to prevent injury or become more stable. They just want to look,
Well, I think that it will, they sort of come together. So even though you might have a little vanity, which believe me, I do too, is you want to look good, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good and feel good. When we look good, we feel good, and that all helps our, self-esteem. And if we're working out and we're lifting weights and we're doing all the things because we want to look good, then naturally it will also help our balance, our flexibility, our injury prevention. They do kind of work together. But, when we're in our teens and 20s and early 30s, maybe we are working out more so that we look good. But as we're getting older, we need to shift our focus that we're working out for our future selves. I'm working out for my 70-year-old person. I want to be able to move and walk and bend and lift and carry. And so my goal of why changes, and yours probably will too. As you get older, your why is going to change a little bit, and even your how is going to change. Maybe you were, a great runner and a marathon runner when you were younger, but doing that today is not something you want to do. So the why and the how definitely moves as we age as well.
Again, kind of revisiting these things as we go on our journey here.
Yeah.
Now, kind of getting to the beef of why a lot of people signed up for this, because they want to know, can you really have a workout at home with just what you have? Shante, so we've kicked around a couple of words here. I've heard dumbbells, I've heard exercise bands and treadmill. Can you get an effective workout just right there on the floor?
Absolutely. The thing is, you don't actually need anything for an effective workout. For an effective workout, what you need is the constancy of an appropriate level of stress or challenge, right, over a consistent period of time. That's it, right? And so, yes, the weights, the equipment, the machines, that might be one way to do that, especially as we get stronger, right, and our bodies can handle and tolerate more. However, increasing your strength, especially prior to that point, as a beginner or a non-strength sport athlete, you can very well get a solid, effective workout with just your body weight, right? In fact, as a coach myself, and Kristen, you might do this as well, we employ a lot of different methods and protocols to try to help other individuals progress, because that's what we're looking to do, progress the level of challenge that the workout is imposing on our bodies, right? And so we can do that with our body weight. We've got a lot of other options for doing that from a standpoint of increasing the amount of work that you're doing. So if you were doing 10 squats, maybe now you're doing 15 squats. It might be the speed at which you're training, right? If you were doing speed squats, doing them a little faster, or maybe you want to slow it down, right? To increase the time that your body is under tension in that particular movement. So again, no, you do not need anything. But however, one of the things that I like to talk to people about is using what you have available to you. So in your home, that might be water jugs. It might be your 30-pound baby. It might be some books that you put in a backpack and put on your back. So also, do not hesitate to use those things that you have available to you that are easy to access. They're not taking up a lot of space. There's no maintenance required as far as machines and things like that go. Just remember that the focus is to increase the amount of stimulus. That's what your body needs, a stimulus that it can respond to. All right, so tell your body basically needs something that says, this is challenging enough that I need to grow.
I just recently learned about a weight vest. Some guy said, I'm going to put on my weight vest and go jogging. It never occurred to me that, even though I'm preparing for this webinar, it never occurred to me, well, of course, a backpack. My backpack with the computer and my notebooks in there, that's my, wow, excellent idea. Okay, now I have a challenge for you two. I have a surprise for you. It's the $100 challenge. Now, here's what I've heard. That you can do a workout with just absolutely nothing, but you could also level up what you're doing with some things around the house. Let's say, though, you did have $100 that you were going to invest into your workout. I want to ask both of you, if you had $100, how might you spend that to build your home workout?
I'll jump right on in there then.
Go for it.
Me, I think I would look to get the most bang for my buck, right? So I'm looking for things that don't require a lot of time to set up, things that may not take up a lot of space. So right out the back, I'm going with the jump rope, right? Something that I can travel with. I can pretty much take it anywhere that I'm going. And then aside from that, I'm probably going to use, I would go with between medicine balls, dumbbells and kettlebells. I would buy singles of those at varying weights, just a couple because it's $100, but I would buy them on the heavier side. So obviously, assess where you are, but I would want them to be something that I could grow into, because I know that especially starting out, my body is going to provide a lot of resistance that's easy for me to access. So I would buy something on the heavier side as far as dumbbells or kettlebells that I can grow into as I get stronger.
Okay, so I'm ambushing you with this question, but I'll bet that you've got an answer also, Kristen. Let's hear it.
I do. It's similar. I'm going to say that I already have a good pair of shoes, so I don't need to spend my money on that. But if you don't have a good pair of shoes, that's probably where I would, put some money into. I would certainly pick up a loop band like this, very inexpensive. They have different thicknesses. You can get probably a set of them on Amazon. I would absolutely pick up a set of dumbbells. I would be at Target or Dick's Sporting Goods, practicing what can I do. I want it to be challenging when I get up to 15 reps. So if I can whip these out and I can do, 50 reps, that's probably not the size for me. And I do love a kettlebell. So I would try to pick one of those up. I might be shopping at a Facebook Marketplace or garage sales so that my $100 goes farther. But a loop band, a set of dumbbells, and a kettlebell would be where I would start.
Yeah, and Play It Again Sports, just throwing that out there, usually has used equipment that you can access at pretty decent rates as well.
Oh, and garage sales and Salvation Army and all kinds of
garage sales, Facebook Marketplace. I have a ton of stuff in my home gym that I have purchased used, and I have a weighted vest that I got used also.
What I was thinking, I love your ideas, but for some select people, like investing in a scale, if they didn't have one, might be an idea too, just to keep that motivation up, so you can actually gauge how you're doing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the frequency and how hard we push ourselves. Where do we get started with that, Kristen?
So there's some guidelines that the fitness industry and health industry has put together, and they're what I'm going to talk about, which is basically you want to do your cardiovascular training, your walking, your running, whatever that looks like for you, whatever's getting your heart rate elevated, you're sweating. You're going to want to do that at least 5 days a week. They give you 150 minutes. So if you think of 150 minutes, I can do that 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. You're going to want to strength train, so lift those heavy weights 2 to 3 times a week. And then you're going to want to add some flexibility, some mobility, some stretching in there a couple of times a week too. So if you're, watching your favorite show, you might want to get on the floor and do some stretching, do some work on, mobility, making sure that we're still able to, move our hips and our shoulders and things like that. So that's the basics.
Now, something else that we wanted to share before we wrap up today was this idea about resources. And I'd like to turn to the audience and ask, have you used apps on your phone to help with your fitness? If you have, what ones have been helpful for you? So go ahead and type them in. I will share with the audience too. I've used these apps before, and one that I've used, you know what, it's not necessarily workout, but it's still health related, is Headspace. It's my mental workout. But let's hear from the audience too. And let's hear from Shantae and Kristen. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you, that $100 and you want to spend it on an app, that's an option too. I know Peloton is a great app that people love. You don't have to have a Peloton bike or treadmill to utilize the app. There's a lot that you could do with that. Nike also has a great fitness app as well. And there's a ton, I mean a ton of free resources out there available to people. I use TikTok all the time. When I am setting up workouts or trying to come up with ideas for my classes, I might see an exercise that I love and I will literally send it to myself so I remember it. But there's a lot of great information out there on the web that's free.
Somebody is suggesting that they've used MyFitnessPal. That's one that I've used before too. Kind of track everything, including your nutrition. I love that idea.
That's a great one.
Someone says, what do you think about those exercise through dancing apps?
Yeah, sure. It's one of those things that people will say, what's better, the treadmill or the elliptical? Yeah. I mean, what's better? What's better is what you're going to do. So if you love to dance and you love to move your body and it gets your heart rate up and you're sweating and you're having fun and you can do it consistently, then that's great. Someone who doesn't have a whole lot of rhythm and doesn't enjoy dancing, that's not going to work out for them, but maybe walking on the treadmill does. So there is no right or wrong answer there. It's just whatever you like to do that's going to help you stay consistent and get that heart going.
That makes perfect sense. Very logical. The other thing that we're seeing here, somebody uses their Fitbit app. Another person is suggesting FitnessPal, Livestrong, Fitness Blender.
Oh, I love Fitness Blender. That is a great one.
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of Fitness Blender.
It's really good. It's like a husband and wife. I believe they're husband and wife team that was recording, and it started out like super basic stuff, but they really have grown and advanced.
Nice.
Regarding multimedia.
Yes, it's free.
Okay.
It's a website.
That's even better. Regarding multimedia, I'll share, I have set up, I have a television in front of my treadmill and get on YouTube, and you can find these videos where somebody is walking on a path. So even though I'm in the basement, it feels like I'm outside walking and the scenery is going by me, and it's helpful. But there's so much information that you can see on there. we hope that you found this helpful. And if you'd like to, stick around because we have a few other tidbits we could share with you in the Life Advisor Lounge. But before we make that shift, I want to thank our audience for showing up. And I want to thank, of course, our presenters, Kristen and Shantae, very much for participating and sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you sincerely.